these days. You don't just tell people to just sit back and relax and enjoy themselves. It looks like you have to, when you are sitting and relaxing, you have to wash your back.
Lingering insecurity crisis. Now, lingering in the sense that it's even getting worse by the day, making the country ungovernable. We are talking about 2027 at the corner, and you're now talking about kidnapping people, unaliving people, slaying people, teachers. Look at your case. Look at Zamfara. Every day I saw the video. The commissioner of police was dancing with his men. They were all rejoicing and lifting up their rifle. Oh, hallelujah! We ended just to you are dancing. Yeah, your rifle's up. So in 1990, when kidnapping started from the Niger Delta region, they started with this militant group coming. The intention was not really for material, demands, to demand for money. As time progresses, it started degenerating into, materialism, material demands for money and all that kind of stuff. So that wasn't the initial, perspective when they started. More people can no longer even speak. They can't even, there's no statement, like he said, such as sit back, relax. Nobody relaxes anymore because every insecurity problem is economic problem. That a community was almost annihilated, as in
that was in Niger State.
In Niger State,
Nigeria,
they called the community PISA in Bogu local government for like 2 hours in the community. No force security agency showed up. It's per minute, per breaking news. Every minute you see, seconds even, you see breaking news here and there. The economy here is fairly stable to the extent that, if you really want to work, you'll be able to get a job. Kind of stuff. So people scarcely think about going into criminality. So there's database everywhere, and that's why today you hit somebody or you commit a particular offense, it's very easy for them to track you. An average car in UK, they have bigger budget than an average Nigerian.
About 7 pastors prosecuted. They were charged to court in Anambra State for doing fake miracles. These imams and these pastors who man pulpits commit criminality with it and preach to somebody, giving them false hope, even those who are used as suicide bombers in the Islamic religion. If they have something they are doing, they might not even go to mosque the day that criminal preaching will be given to them, and they will have 7 pages.
Nigeria is just like a private company in the hands of a microscopic few. Why policies don't work? The Nigerian insecurity situation will continue to worsen. Security system in Nigeria cannot give us the solution. The worst thing that can happen to you is to have a criminal who is committing the atrocity in the security architecture. So these are the issues facing us.
Welcome to Glasscast podcast. And from this studio, we want to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good whatever, wherever you are watching us on this episode. We are here again on our podcast, your podcast, and the podcast that brings out interesting subjects and gets every one of us to engage in that constructive conversation. On this note, I want to say you are very much welcome to this team of erudite scholars. By my immediate left here is the Doc himself. Doc, what do you want to say to our subscribers?
Thanks for having me again. And thanks to all subscribers for maintaining and keeping their loyalty to this podcast.
Very important, because it is their loyalty, their engagement, and their, in a way, patronage, if I may use that word, that keeps us here discussing important issues. And when we talk about the things that keep us here discussing important issues, we have the son of Glasscast, the elder himself. He's one of the people that keep us here, especially with those thought-provoking analysis that come from the elder himself. Elder, I will let you say hello to our
very good evening, good morning, good afternoon to our subscribers, to our followers, and to our viewers. And sit back, relax, and enjoy yourself. It's going to be wonderful, fantastic, and very, very engaging.
Wow, very, very engaging. There's something Elder said here. He said you need to sit back, relax, and enjoy yourself. But it looks like in these days, you don't just tell people to just sit back and relax and enjoy themselves. It looks like you have to, when you are sitting and relaxing, you have to wash your back.
Well, probably because of where I am, I don't have to watch my back. I don't have to do 7 days fasting so that I don't get into the hands of the kidnappers. Maybe that's what is informing my choice of words.
Well, if you say that, even where you are currently, there is, more recently there, the story of Belfast, the horrific incident that happened in Belfast recently. Even people in the United Kingdom who are beginning to feel like,
yeah, but that tells you a lot of things you need to know about what is happening in the UK and what is happening in Nigeria. The Belfast incident was one person attacked, but in Nigeria, I don't know how many. Before we got on,
I think we've lost count really when it comes to Nigerian security situation. And talking about what you just mentioned just now, it reminds me of one funny video I saw a few days ago. I heard that a few bandits members, that's kidnappers, were apprehended. I think about 2 of them. So, and they were able by the policemen in Abuja, led by a commissioner of police. So they were able to, disarm some of them. Some left with bullet wounds. So they apprehended 2 of the kidnappers. And I saw in the video, the commissioner of police was dancing with his men. They were all rejoicing and lifting up their rifle. Oh, hallelujah. We have, dancing seriously. I said, oh my. In the bush. You understand? So it reminds me of the saying that in a community where everybody is blind, only one man with one eye is celebrated as a king. You just caught 2 kidnappers in a system, a society that has become so dysfunctional by the increasing scourge of criminality and, insecurity. You apprehended just 2.
Well, look,
you are dancing.
Yeah,
your rifles up.
Don't you think?
Well, I give it to them.
They have reason to celebrate and to be happy because it could be that in the past years or in the past weeks or in the past months they've not been able to apprehend this.
That's
if God has answered their prayer, maybe we are not singing the God that answered by fire.
Of course.
Let me now we have you here. In my native language, they said if you climb an iroko tree, you fetch the much firewood as much as you can. Now that we have you, we don't regularly have you here.
Yeah.
What do you think is the root cause of this insecurity in Nigeria and the continual insecurity? It doesn't seem to be abating, even with the effort the government said they are making, changing the security, was it not some time ago?
Security chiefs.
The security chiefs, reshuffling, commissioner of police and so on, and nothing seems to be getting better.
Yeah, I think in answering that question, I'd like us to look at a few factors, because we're talking about the lingering insecurity crisis. Now, lingering in the sense that it's even getting worse by the day. All right. So in 1990, when kidnapping started from the Niger Delta region, it started with this militant group coming out. The intention was not really for material, demands, to demand for money. They apprehended expatriates then because of the feeling that these guys are exploiting us and underdeveloping us. So when they apprehend any expatriate, the oil workers, what they do, they place demands on them. We need a particular route to be tied. We need this to be done. Developments. That was how it was, and they were very explicit and clear. But as time progresses, it started degenerating into, materialism, material demands for money and all that kind of stuff. So that wasn't the initial, perspective when it started. But with the unfolding of time, money started setting in. And what even now made it worse at some point, that brought us to this era of massive demands of money, ransom and all that kind of stuff, began with the era of the Chibok girls that were adopted during the time of President Goodluck Jonathan, where 249 or thereabouts students, secondary school students were adopted and taken into the bush, and there were massive demands, coming from left, right, and center. Now, the long and short of it is that this whole system, insecurity situation has snowballed into a nightmare right now that people can no longer even sleep. They can't even, there's no statement, like he said, such as sit back, relax. Nobody relaxes anymore, So, because you don't know what's going to happen the next minute. It's per minute, per breaking news. Every minute you see, seconds even, you see breaking news here and there. Recently, I stopped my wife from going into social media because she's got this very, fragile kind of, emotions and all that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't want to keep seeing her, crying and see what's going on and all that kind of stuff. So coming back to the causes of the lingering insecurity situation, number one, economic factor, which is key. The last time I came here, I said, if you remember, that at the foundation, at the bottom of every insecurity problem is economic problem. If you look at the Western world today that we all admire, we celebrate them, there's so much cost government is paying for the relative security that we see here, that at night you can drive anywhere, drive through the bush without fear of somebody, falling in front of your car, or somebody shooting you from nowhere and all that kind of stuff. They are paying so much for it. Now, what do I mean? The economy here is fairly stable to the extent that, if you really want to work, you'll be able to get a job. The government has a whole lot of, social security programs, welfare programs for the people and all that kind of stuff. So people scarcely think about going into criminality, and when a crime system or insecurity is being propelled by, economic situation, it becomes, it's a very dangerous, it could be very, very dangerous. Now, what do I mean? You talk about a group of people, who will tell you, go and propagate this agenda, go and do this, go into kidnapping, so we can make money from this and all. And the person is asking himself, I'm not hungry. My life is okay. My children go to school. I don't need to pay school fees. Everything is fine. The person will scarcely think about joining such kind of escapades when the economic situation is okay. Standard of living is okay. There's no cost of living crisis and all that kind of stuff. Now, another factor is the religion. Now, we've heard from the time of suicide bombing, people going to detonate themselves and, people will die and all that kind of stuff. We see a whole lot of religious inclination to this whole thing, indoctrination, the jihadist kind of, philosophy, school of thought that when you do all this kind of stuff, you commit all this kind of havoc, go to communities, annihilate entire community. You are fighting for a particular religious cause, and when you die in the course of doing that, there's going to be 7 virgins prepared for you. You who have not even seen one virgin here, you are hoping to see 7 virgins. That is not.
Do people still believe in that?
Yeah, no. I tell you, no. I'm just trying to emphasize. You asked a question, the causes of this whole thing. Now, that indoctrination, criminality pushed by religious indoctrination is usually very difficult to resolve. All right. We're also talking about the lingering. Why is it that this thing is continuous and government is not being able to tackle this situation? Now, when a group of people are indoctrinated to see criminality as a way of life, as a religious belief that as they are killing people, they are killing, more like they are cleansing, ethnic cleansing, they are cleansing the society.
Killing in the name of God.
Yeah, they are cleansing the society because they are going to get reward in heaven. So because sometimes if you see these young boys carrying these rifles and the way they go about, they're very excited, carrying these rifles, you see, bro, for me to cut the neck, put knife in the neck of just common chicken, fowl, is very difficult for me. Talk less of putting your machete on somebody's neck, you slaying somebody, a human being, somebody, a human being like you, So for somebody to muster that kind of God to be doing all those things, they've been indoctrinated so much, So there's religious inclination to it. which is part of the factors. Then you also have a political factor to it. Because if you look at the trajectory of the banditry and all that, the time of President Goodluck Jonathan, you notice that it was almost similar to what we also experienced now when it was getting close to that general election. All right. There were so much of, havoc, community killings here and there, and different kind of atrocities being committed, kidnapping, mass kidnapping, and all that kind of stuff, targeted at making the country ungovernable. At that time, we had lots of state of emergencies, and that is almost similar to what is happening at this time again. We are talking about 2027 at the corner, and you're now talking about kidnapping people, unaliving people, slaying people, teachers. Look at your case. Look at Zamfara every day. Just yesterday, today's 13th, isn't it?
Yeah,
13th. I read in the news that a community was almost annihilated. As in,
that was in Niger State,
in Niger State.
Nigeria.
They called the community Pisa in Bogo local government. That it was massive slaughter just today.
And a few days ago, I think there was one.
And that there was an alert. Yes, and that there was an alert. They called on the Air Force, called on the military when these guys arrived at about 8 a.m. in the morning. But do you know they operated from 8 a.m. to I think about 10 a.m. That's how many hours? For like 2 hours in the community. No force security agency showed up. The Air Force did not show up. Nobody came. Just for them to depart from that community. About 1 hour later, they saw the Air Force, jet flying all over the.
After the deed has been done.
Yeah, the deed has been done. So that explains to you, the kind of trouble and situation Nigeria finds itself at the moment. So this is politically, there's a lot of political inclination to this. That's why it's lingering. And we also have another factor, the broken social trust and, social responsiveness. Now, what do I mean by that? This is very key. Now, one of the biggest secrets to solving any problem of insecurity in any society is a responsiveness of the community, how people respond in terms of information dissemination and all that. Now, you talk about the UK today, the response rate is very high. If somebody drives to your neighborhood, a car you've not seen before, maybe a black car, just a Mercedes, parked somewhere and the guy is not coming out, somebody inside is not coming out, nobody is seeing the person, before give the person just 40 minutes, you're going to see the police truck is going to pull over by that car. They're going to start quizzing you, asking you questions. You've not been here before. You've been here for like 40 minutes. And while they are talking to you, another one has captured your plate number. They've profiled the car to know who is the rightful owner of the car, know everything about you, why that interrogation is on. So the people are very responsive. Recently, I read a story in social media that in Southampton, somebody, an immigrant, he went out to do grocery not far away, leaving his 2 kids, underage in his apartment. And one of the kids was waving through the window. So a neighbor saw the boy waving, and perhaps the neighbor saw the woman going to get the grocery. So she immediately phoned the police. Now, the woman, just for her to come back, not up to about 15 minutes, she saw up to about 7 trucks, police truck in front of their apartment. So she had to phone the husband. The husband was actually at work. The husband came over and, they placed her on cuffs. They handcuffed the woman just for leaving not that anything happened to these children. So social workers came into the.
She may be going in for child neglect.
Now talking about So
it tells you how the society.
The broken social trust in the Nigerian context. You can hear a baby crying from your neighborhood, from the back of your apartment. You don't care. You don't want to even move. It's of no business to you. Nobody wants to phone the police because there's this mindset that, if I call the police today and my neighbor knows or somebody knows I'm the one that informed the police, my life will be at stake and all that. So that's broken trust. People don't even trust the system to be able to protect them when they speak out, when they blow whistle blowing, so that is part of the reason that is giving fuel to this lingering thing. Because when they kidnapped us the other time, like I said, the first place they kept us, the first, that should be, yes, the first night, they kept us in one uncompleted building, looks like mud house. Now, from that place, we could hear community having conversation. We could hear people telling stories during at night time. We could hear mothers shouting, calling out to their children, on errands, sending them on errands and all that. That means this practice is interwoven with the communities. Community people understand. They know these people. But nobody is blowing whistle, nobody is speaking out because of the fear of the unknown. So that is part of it. Then we also have lack of effective database system, which is also very critical. So we have border problem. We are not in control of people who come into Nigeria. Now, today, all over the world, countries are fighting for give us back our country. If you are not from here, go back to your country. And sometimes we ask ourselves, it's really very painful knowing that you have no country to even go back to. Is it in Nigeria that is like this that you want to go back to? It's painful. But I think that's also a call for caution and a call for a kind of reawakening for Nigerians in diaspora, to really put their feet on the ground, either by, by any means possible, to put their voice into making Nigeria to work, because home is home. You can't take that away. Our people, there's this parable by my people that if you don't want to pack out of your community, then you repair it, you fix it. So I think it's a wake-up call for everybody to begin to look at how we can contribute to fixing the country. And I think what this young man is doing, VDM, he's doing a great job. I was talking to a few young men just yesterday, and I told them that we are going to begin to look at the possibility of having a Rate movement, even in Scotland. If we can have Rate movement and see how we can join force with what is going on, how to salvage the situation in Nigeria, add our voice to it. So that lack of database system, the porosity within the border, Nigerian border, guns are being traded every day. Just recently, an aircraft landed in Delta State, not in airport, landed on the third road. I don't know if you follow that news.
I saw it.
An aircraft landed and also took off after a few minutes from that third road. Now, the people that the aircraft dropped off, at that point, up till now, we don't know their identities. We don't know the people who flew that aircraft there. We don't know what they carried, nothing, because they broke the security system. They didn't pass through the checkpoints in the airport. That's why maybe they did what they did. But they are giving it all forms of coloration today. So we have a database problem. We don't know the number of people in Nigeria. The census figures we have, they are not reliable. We don't know. Here, I did a video the other time where I profiled cattle here in the United Kingdom. They have passports. They are cows. All cows, European cows, they have passports. Just like the human passports. They have numbers. And government knows every cow in the entire UK. They have budget for this cow. An average cow in UK, they have as in they have bigger budget than an average Nigerian, an average cow in the UK. So they know where the cows are. They have a database of cow. If they can have database of cow, talk less of the human beings. So there's database everywhere, and that's why today you hit somebody or you commit a particular offense, it's very easy for them to track you. They will keep following you, you know. Today, sometimes we hear of some crime that have been committed 15 years ago. They just discovered who did it because they've been, on it for so many years. And they must bring you to book. You can't escape it because they have strong databases. I think, that is also part of the factors that have led to this lingering this thing. Then finally, I've made mention of the broken border system, which is also key. Yeah, so these are the challenges, the reasons why government has not really been able to do anything.
Doc, thank you so much. You really touched on a lot of important issues, the political angle to it, the economic angle, the social responsiveness, open border, lack of, open border, no database, and so on. At the bottom of all this, is what government is supposed to do. In our basic social studies, we are taught that the primary responsibility of government is securing lives and properties. That's first of all. It's only when you are alive that you will claim other rights that are attached to it. Looks like we are in Nigeria now. We're in a very helpless situation.
Yeah.
And it seems that the government is helpless and they are clueless. They don't know what to do because it is escalating. When I was contesting an election as a president of Law Students Association in university, our student advisor, staff advisor then told me, said, Oscar, when you win this election, now you've won this election, if you cannot improve on the situation, please don't let it go beyond how you met it. Please maintain the status quo.
Live it the way you met it.
If you cannot improve on what you met on ground, please don't let it go worse than what you met on ground. The security situation in Nigeria is worse than what the president met.
Yes, of course.
So what are the chances that if he wins the next election or even before the next election, he will improve on what he has even, destroyed further?
Yes, to be very honest, like I said, any criminality or when terrorism or banditry, the solutioning or solving any banditry problem or insecurity problem is a function of what is driving or what is pushing the insecurity. That's why I started by analyzing the various factors just now. All right. So of all those factors I've just mentioned, the most dangerous of those factors are two: the political push and the religious push. Those two factors, they are very dangerous. When banditry is pushed by political inclination and religious inclination, it becomes very difficult for government to resolve it. And coming back to your question as to whether Tinubu will be able to, do anything better after maybe when he wins 2020, that's if he's going to win, because it's becoming very doubtful.
Or even before he wins.
Yeah, all right.
So from now, he still has to govern from now till next year. Is that not correct?
I'll remind you that, they've changed service chiefs up to about 2-3 times in recent time, but yet nothing has changed. Why? So many things have been done wrong. Now, number one thing that was done that government did, which they weren't, or which government wasn't supposed to do, was in time of the late President Buhari.
Our dear President Buhari.
Bringing repentant Boko Haram members into the military. I don't know if you follow that news.
Yeah.
So they brought them and incorporated them into this. I've never heard of such kind of thing anywhere in the world before. Once a criminal is always a criminal. That is just the truth. So the worst thing any government can do is to say, oh, these are repentant criminals. You now bring them into the security architecture of the country. Now, mind you, many of these communities that are being raided, these people, they write to them. They give them notification that we are coming. Like the Pisa community they just raided now. They wrote to them a few weeks back that we are coming.
And they stayed back.
Because, sometimes maybe when you don't have anywhere to go to,
what do you do?
To stay back and wait for your demise.
They write to them. Now you ask yourself, in a country where terrorists, banditry operators, they will write to you, to a community that they are coming, and government is unable to provide security for such communities. Does that not tell you something is wrong, fundamentally wrong somewhere? No, we should ask ourselves. Something is fundamentally wrong. Now, something is wrong about the intel. Now, have you ever heard of a criminal being in the force, in the intelligence unit of a force where information is being disseminated, very useful and strategic information is being disseminated. Now, as you are trying to communicate to operations in different areas, like in Sambisa, different who are out to fight the criminality and all that, you are communicating to them, then they have someone in the intel who communicates to them the plans. You can never succeed over these people. And that's why you see they've killed a lot of our generals. Look at the General Ba. that they brutally, murdered the other time. It was Intel. Didn't you follow the story? There are a lot of things are wrong right now with the system. And if you ask me, maybe the only solution might just be to sack every military, all of them, and do a fresh recruit, because the system is contaminated, seriously contaminated. Because if you have a lingering problem in an organization, from my knowledge as an entrepreneur, a teething problem that has lingered for years, that is crippling the organization, then you know a cabal, a cartel has been cultivated in that system. And when you come in, the only way to solve it is to dislodge such kind of...
Doc, you are making a very, very radical suggestion, which sounds like what the suggestion Mazi would make, Mazi Ken Njoku would make if he's sitting let's scatter Nigeria. That's what it sounded like. I don't see how a whole country will get up one day and sack the whole military.
It's impossible. But that seems like the only thing that can help us out of this situation.
Nigeria can set a precedent.
No, I don't see that working. That sounds very, very radical. And I don't know how to address that one.
Yeah, I know.
But when you look at Nigeria is polarized, divided along ethnic lines, along religious lines, along the
political lines.
Beneficiaries of the largesse of Nigeria in terms of politics. Sure. These are the three people you have. People who vote for somebody because he's my tribesman, because we go to the same church, or because if he wins, I'll get something, I get appointment, I get police. And it becomes difficult for Nigeria to come up with any major solution. As you suggested, a radical move of sacking all the military and service.
Remember my word, I said maybe.
Okay. What is your thoughts on the issue of, I'm not sure you have made that position known to me. What is your thought on the issue of if we can divide Nigeria along the lines that is already been divided?
Yeah.
In terms of people go their different ways.
I was also going to come to that. You see, earlier I was talking about the document, the confab document. Yeah. That's one of the biggest things Nigeria has achieved since the formation of the country. Unfortunately, that document is somewhere, only God knows where right now. Now, because that is the only time that Nigerians, stakeholders, came from across the length and breadth of the country. Professors, different caliber, different personalities came together. Government spent billions of dollars in hosting this national confab. Was it not in the time of President Goodluck Jonathan?
Yeah, I think it was 2014.
2014. That was one of the best things we got. Now, after generating that document, now every solution we need as a country is inside that document. But I told you the other time that Nigeria is just like a private company in the hands of a microscopic few. I don't know if you understand what I meant by that statement. And that is why policies don't work. It's not as though we don't have the policies in the country. We have beautiful policies. We have a whole lot of things that are supposed to move Nigeria forward. We have the solution. But these solutions cannot work, because if these solutions work, many of these family members will be made irrelevant. All right. Now, coming back to what you just talked about, the confab document, contains, in the confab document, there's issue of state policing there in the confab document. There's also issue of this regionalism. This regionalism thing, is also there in the confab document. If you check it, everything is there in the document. Now, part of the solution, we have not come to solution yet, but part of the solution to this lingering insecurity, this thing, has been discussed long ago. And a lot of experts said, localize policing. The system of bringing an Usman to Warri to come and police Warri, and taking Obakpororo to Kaduna to go and police Kaduna, because geography and security system is intertwined. Yeah. These guys are operating in the bush, in the forest. They are operating in the forest. But if you get the locals as the police policing I think they'll be closer to the people. The people know them. They know themselves. If I see Obakporo, for instance, is an inspector of police, I know Obakporo's mother. I know his father. If Obakporo extorts me, I'm driving on the highway and he extorts me, say make I transfer 100,000, enter account when I don't know. Bros, yawa go gas. I go leave him. But the next when I go in house, I'll carry my guys. We go block the road, the entrance to their compound. The mama no go come out, the papa no go come out. You understand?
As a consequence of what they are
what you're trying to do. No. So we need that. I'm in strong support. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm in strong support of that. Breaking Nigeria up. Nigeria is really too big. Let's break it up. Nigeria is enough to get 6 countries. Scotland, the population of Scotland is not up to 6 million.
Yeah. Scotland is
only one state in Nigeria is bigger than the entire population of the United Kingdom.
So on a more direct one, do you support Biafra to go?
Why not? I support Biafra to go and every other fra that want to go. Let all of them go.
Every other fra.
Yes, let all of them go. Why are we keeping everybody together who don't have the ability and the capacity to manage?
Well, I hope you out there that is watching and listening to this analysis, you would agree.
I'm extremely surprised at your answer. Go ahead.
Yeah, you would agree to that. Although there are other ways to solve a problem apart from breaking up. But it looks like, because you mentioned the Ratel movement earlier, there was Ratel demonstration this week, and all they are calling for is Tinubu must go, that Tinubu is the cause of insecurity in Nigeria. Does it actually look like Tinubu is the problem?
No, I think that's another misconception that we as a people, we need to understand. Talking about insecurity from my analysis from the beginning of this conversation, it's very clear that the security thing is a collective responsibility. All right. I made mention of the social responsiveness, the broken trust and social responsiveness. People are not willing to speak out. All right. I give you an instance. I came home one day and to find out that some hoodlums broke into my apartment in Nigeria and they, took 7 televisions in my apartment, took my laptop, took valuable things from my apartment, just on a Sunday, I went to church, so the area was really getting so bad, so hot as at that time. This is a compound that is fenced and the fence is very high, so what did I do? I decided to carry out an intel into some bush, some forest around this thing. So I discovered one base, one area inside the bush where the bad boys, they were smoking Indian hemp and that kind of stuff. So from the findings I carried out, I discovered that one of those guys, came through my area that very morning that this thing happened. So I say, this guy, in face look like thief, and the guy na terrorist. Saying that this guy na go don't conduct this thing. What did I do? I went to report to the police. I say, I want to go after them. Do you know my wife was saying, no, don't do it. My auntie was saying, yeah, please. You just, everybody is scared. But I didn't listen to them. I carried out the operation. I took police. Police came to meet me in the evening. So we planned that at about 10 p.m., we're going to raid their hideout. They have a particular hideout. I've discovered it. Do you know, I was like the commander of that squad, a civilian. We got to a point, we crossed some swamp, this thing on our way to that spot. The inspector of police, the guy that followed, one of the policemen will say, bros, I don't think it's safe for us to go to this kind of mission. I say, bros, we're almost there. Let's go. And as God will have it, we'll be able to apprehend that guy and 2 others. And they made confessional statements in the station that they've been terrorizing the area and all that kind of stuff. Now, what am I saying? Not everybody will have that confidence, that boldness to carry out that kind of operation. No, everybody is scared, but we are all part of the insecurity system. All right? Now, to say Tinubu, maybe because they are doing that, because Tinubu is the president as at that time. And as the president, they believe that you are the one sitting in the position of authority. Look at what Obasanjo did to the community when he was there. All right? That they brought down a full community. Now you talk of the Sambisa forest, the forest where these guys are operating. We have the Air Force. It does not take anything for Air Force, for intelligence to send drones and find out. They know their hideout, they know all this place. But it's just that there are some big men in the system, in the family, that are so big that even the president does not have the power to caution them. And he's scared of them. So what does it take you to say, okay, send the Air Force to go and destroy the entire forest? They can render all the forest in that northern area, render them useless. Don't you know that? Because that's the hiding spot for these people.
Doc, the insecurity situation in Nigeria is multidimensional. And a journey of many miles
begins with a step.
And they said block by block, a house is built. If the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria can say, okay, let's focus on the economy. Some of the criminals, some of the bandits, some of those who are doing kidnapping will get something doing. And at least that angle in terms of the economic angle to criminality in Nigeria will be solved. If I have something I'm doing, I know I'm going to go to work tomorrow. I know I have a business I'm doing. If you call me, go and do this. I will not go. I will not even on my own think of going to steal or going to kidnap somebody.
Yeah.
So if the president is serious, he can still dealing with the economy. And many imams, that's what they call them in the Muslim religion. Many pastors call themselves out of economic problem because they don't have anything they are doing.
God did not
call them. They call themselves. And they go there and the kind of things they preach. Some of them are criminals. Was it not last week that we saw about 7 pastors prosecuted? They were charged to court in Anambra State for doing fake miracles. They are also involved in, some of them were imprisoned last year for kidnapping and all sorts of criminality. These are the so-called pastors. So many of them, when the economy improves, these imams and these pastors who mount pulpit, commit criminality with it, and preach to somebody, giving them false hope, even those who are used as suicide bombers in the Islamic religion. If they have something they are doing, they might not even go to mosque the day that criminal preaching will be given to them, that they will have 7 virgins. They might be somewhere walking, so they might be taken away from that criminal. So everything revolves around that, economic part of the thing. And the political angle to it. The president is the head of the politicians in Nigeria now. He's the chief. You are virtually the fact that he's the president, however you want to describe him. So if he cannot stand up and say, okay, politicians, we are not going to be doing this. Any person who does it will be checked and, made to face the consequences of the law. I think things will get better. It doesn't have to. It wasn't this bad before he came in. We have had presidents. We've had Obasanjo. We had Yar'Adua. We have Goodluck Jonathan. Even Buhari is even better than him now. I was listening to Arise News Television. They said that the number of people that have been killed in the first 3 years of Tinubu's administration is ×2 of what were killed out of criminality in the whole of Buhari's 8 years. It tells us that something can be done by the president. He can do better than what we are seeing now.
So the elder, based on what you are saying, it looks like the politicians are threading the life of the masses for their political gain. Because relating to what you are saying and linking it to the political analysis that Doc drew here earlier, Oyo State has been stable for a long time. There has not been, they have all these little security challenges. And immediately the current governor of Oyo State declared that he wants to be the president of Nigeria. He wants to go into the election. 59 pupils were kidnapped in Oyo State. Teachers were kidnapped in Oyo State. And we begin to hear narratives upon narratives. Government is telling us that 1 billion was requested somewhere. This was requested. The people that kidnapped these people said, we didn't request for such. Look at what we are asking for. So it begins to, worry the mind that politicians need to do something about it.
If I may come in here, I've listened to both of you talking about the solution now. All right. The Nigerian insecurity situation will continue to worsen, and I'm afraid it will continue to worsen because the government has not demonstrated enough courage to be able to nip it in the bud. And nipping it in the bud, I made a statement earlier when I said that the worst thing that can happen to you is to have a criminal who is committing the atrocity in the security architecture of the country. We have them in the security architecture. So the security system in Nigeria cannot give us a solution. So long those guys are there, there's no intel, because once the intel is, bugged, then it means there's no intel.
So the masses that are supposed to provide this intel have become docile.
No. When you said the intel, not just about the masses now, security intel is just like you are sending troops to go and fuel a particular terrorist operation somewhere. They need intel to go. Yeah. They need communications to say, okay, go to Zuzu. This, you know what I mean? When they are such information is being passed to them, the criminal, they are also getting the same information that is being passed to. How can you fuel such kind of operation? That's the situation we find ourselves. Now, there are a whole lot of classified information that have been released over the years, all right, about terrorism, about Boko Haram, about this kidnapping, banditry, and all that. I remember the late May Lafia, Obadiah May Lafia. I don't know if you remember his name now. He was a former director in CBN, an Oxford University PhD holder, in government. To be a director in CBN, he was privileged the guy gave a long list. And maybe that's part of the reason the man didn't live long anymore. All right. Now, he released classified information publicly about this, that government is involved. Key functionaries in government, they are all involved in this whole system. There's so much politics around this system. All right, to satisfy individual gains and political ambitions. All right, now they are all involved in this. So that's why it's difficult for this thing to be resolved. And the president as a person, you made mention of why is VDM say President Tinubu. Now, as the president of the country, you are the number one person. You have the powers to declare state of emergency. You have the power to sack. You have the power to restore, to do anything you want.
Absolutely.
To do. All right. So that decision making, I told you the other time I came here that the justice symbol that we've become too knitted in Nigerian political system that, the man sitting on my right hand, maybe is like, is in the political family. So when we are enacting a policy and the policy is so beautiful, it's going to benefit the masses, but because the policy is not going to benefit his own. He's in oil and gas. He's not going to benefit his oil and gas sector. He's not going to benefit the banking sector. They're going to quash it because the banking sector, the oil and gas, the same people, they are the ones funding any president who emerges at the end of the day. So where policies are being formulated, these policies cannot fly if it's not going to favor these people. So for you to get a president that we can say, yes, this president knows what he's doing. It must be that person who is ready to be that how do you call it? What's it called? That justice symbol, woman, whose eyes are tied with the sword. Now, what that means is that you don't know who you are going to cut. That's the symbol of justice. So the person must be prepared to cut anybody. But right now, President Tinubu's eyes are open. So that is why he's conscious of the fact that my son is the one in charge of that sector. That's why he's conscious of the fact that that guy there, if I cut him, I may not win my re-election. That's why he's conscious of the fact. So these are the issues facing us. That's why I also proposed last time that to get a president that can take us to the next level, if we can get a benevolent dictator who has the interest of the people at heart, like what is happening in Burkina Faso today, when only one man can say, if he says he needs light, stable power supply today, he can just make it a decree that if I don't get stable light in 3 months, blah, blah, blah will happen. And it happens. These things we have the ability to drive to make these things happen. We have the ability to get security, to tackle this insecurity. But because the eyes of the president, our leaders are open, they are conscious, they become conscious of who they know they are going to cut somebody.
Doc, let me ask you one final question.
Yes.
Of all the people who are queuing to hold this knife of justice.
Yes.
Do you think any of them has his eyes covered by your analysis to court?
Yeah, I don't think there's any of them whose eyes can be covered, even including Peter Obi, so to speak. So I don't like being sentimental, all right? So the people love him, the masses love him. If we are to say, our people say, if you put two things for ground, say me they choose. They choose one. If you put all of them for ground, of course, I would choose Peter Obi. But to say whether Peter Obi will even solve the Nigerian problem, now another equation we may never feel reconciled. Because one, the truth about it is that the Nigerian situation has gotten so bad that in trying to solve the problem, there will be gnashing of teeth.
Yeah.
In the history of the universe, any attempt to solve a national problem, a lot of the masses, it comes with pains upon the masses first. But the masses are not ready to bear such pain. That's why this revolt on Tinubu is becoming very massive. And right now, people don't even want to hear of Tinubu anymore. All right? Not that the man might necessarily be that very bad kind of person. Look at what he has done with our reserve. He has improved reserve. He has some good policies, to be very fair to him. All right? But Nigerians are not prepared to go through such pains at the moment before they get such kind of gains. They want the abracadabra. And I also said it the other time that in order to fix Nigeria, there's a way you try to fix Nigeria today. Nigerians will revolt.
No.
Because if you fix Nigeria, they don't have capacity to survive or to adapt to a Nigerian that is fixed. That will be another problem on itself.
I think we ran out of time. I don't agree with you on the Tinubu issue you mentioned about him having good policies and improving our reserve. Mm-hmm. The analysis you gave is a case of, I have a family. Mm-hmm. My children are hungry. And I told them that I have a savings for them. They have to be alive to go and withdraw from that savings. That's what's happening in Nigeria. Mm-hmm. Nigerians are hungry. Mm-hmm. And he's telling us our foreign reserve. Mm-hmm. Do you know how much Nigeria is owing in debt now? He has tripled our debt, both local and foreign, since he took over 3 years ago.
And this is the same allegation that Tinubu had against Peter Obi, so that he was saving money while people are hungry.
So on that one, I respect.
Maybe you got me wrong. Maybe you got me wrong. I didn't say that as a way of justifying Tinubu. I can never justify Tinubu in any way.
Okay.
All right.
But you can be fair to him.
Yeah, I'm just trying to tell you that you cannot, for you to come out and write off completely everything that all these years he has been there, that the man is a total waste. I'm not going to agree.
I'm going to.
You understand?
Let me make a request for you. Let me make a request.
Yes.
Today we centered on security. I think we're going to bring you very soon. Let's talk about Tinubu, his achievements, success, and
but before we go, there's a solution, just one solution to security, which we need. I classify the solution into broad and immediate. Okay. I've talked about the broad, where you talk about economic empowerment, you talk about all these other blah 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 things you've talked about. But I don't think it will be fair to our viewer. Or
if we don't provide them the solution,
provide an immediate solution. That's what everybody wants to hear.
Yeah.
And the immediate solution, Nigerians, is this. I tag it as a community response approach. Community response approach. We have to forward. That's the only immediate solution. Now, what do I mean by community response approach? I told you when they kidnapped me, we were within a community. The community is intertwined with this system. Historically, I'm an Urobo man. Historically, we had our own cultural ways of protecting our territorial boundaries. As an Urobo man, we had people, we call them Igbus. Igbus, these are the warriors. Now, during festivals, they wear crown. And inside the crown, you see feathers of fowl. The fowl feather, plenty of it. Now, those things are not for decoration. The number of the feathers you see on their head is the number of people they have unalived. That's what makes them warriors. Now, these people, they go to the bush to clear the bush of every foreign bodies. Not just Urobo alone. They have same kind of warriors in Igbo. Every culture, they have their own. These are the people who protect. So over the years, the question we should ask ourselves, what has happened to these warriors? They clear the bushes for us. Now, is it religion? Wait, excuse me. Is it religion that happened to them that they were unable to kind of transgenerate to their children? That is one. So we need to call ourselves together as communities to say, okay, these people doing this thing, they are within us. If they are not in our community, then they do things within our communities. Ask yourself, why should they carry a bag, 2 sacks of rice and 1 sack of garri and driving into a forest, into the bush at night, and you keep quiet, nobody is saying anything. So when the community comes together, they liaise with the chairman, the local government chairman, form your own community security architecture, develop your own database. You might decide to form ID cards for every person in that community to identify them as community members. That becomes a database automatically. Then send every visitor in your community, all these Alumajiri people, send them, let them leave your community and make sure they leave. Then send your warriors into your bush. Then any of them you cash, please. I don't want to talk that one for this. Not put everything, say you can't, you cash somebody, you can't, they go put her for police station and lie. Not they do all these things. Not be everything way warriors see.
You go handle and the community way.
Handle the matter community way. Because this one you handle, you can't they go report. Some of us we too they talk. We too they talk.
You guys are straight into inward. You guys are straight into a place that I'm uncomfortable with. I'm a lawyer.
We need to look inward.
I'm a lawyer.
Take your destiny into your hand.
I don't support jungle. I don't support jungle justice.
I didn't say jungle justice.
I don't support. I said lawyer. Who stand for jungle justice?
What was said here is handle it in the community.
In the community way.
I say handle it.
So you are manufacturing jungle justice.
Handle it according to the rule of law.
No, I'm not talking.
Well, maybe it could be the rule of law. Could be the rule of law of the community. But as long as it's handled in the community,
this thing is working already. A friend of mine in Benue State, he said they came together as a community. Do you know in their community is the only community, I've forgotten the name of the community, is the only community that this banditry, this terrorist thing has not been able to succeed to enter because they came together. Now with high intel, if you see strange bike where they enter bush for night, report out to the Central Security Committee, then go after them. Because the supply chain, all these kidnappers, is like a world of its own. When we're in the bush, there were people bringing garri, bringing rice. They have supply system. They have people bringing weapons to them. Then they operate at night, 12 p.m. at night, 12 a.m.
12 a.m.
That's when they operate. They operate 2 a.m. at night. How can a bike be riding in the bush? Your house is close. If you hear a bike riding in the bush, no, it's criminal activity. Why don't you call the intel? So take your destiny into your hands. It's a community response approach. Work with your local government chairman. Call him to order. All the AK-47 one and all ammunition one I need to operate. Make una put on our heads together. Put on our, they'll just say peace there on our community. They wonder, say, why everybody, they say in the city, there was light in the city of Goshen, even when there was gross darkness in the land of Egypt. When I'm not saying for Bible, because Goshen people, they get their own mafia, or Odeshi. You understand? We protect
them. You listening to us, you watching this episode, you would agree with us that when we have Doc in the house, the conversation is quite dimensional and constructive and also educating. There are a lot of key takeaways from this conversation today. We will come back and discuss the solutions. There are areas that we will still need to touch, like the son of Glasscast said, insecurity in Nigeria is multi-dimensional, because we have mentioned some of the key players, but there are other key players that we will dedicate a section to discuss. The financial sector, the banking sector, because for every individual kidnapped, there are ransoms that were negotiated, and these monies were paid to release people, whether in the open or in the secret. So we will dedicate a section to look at what the financial sector in Nigeria is doing to help to curb this rising insecurity and keep our people safe. In all we do, we have to remember that human life is sacrosanct and we have to keep it that way. We'll leave it here for now, and we want to thank Doc for coming to today's episode. And
yeah, just for the sake of viewers, my name is Dr. Marcus Ekure, because my for those who are just watching for the first time. Yeah. So Dr. Marcus Ekure, and if you go back to many episodes that we've released, and actually Doc here, it represents a survivor of kidnapping incident in Nigeria. Doc has been through it and he survived it, and he's able to tell the story. And we'll bring Doc back again and, do more justice to this subject. And again, when Doc comes, we also want to have the elder of glass cast. We call him the son of glass cast. And you must have heard when we talked about community solution, he gave us the Lego angle to it. So we would always want to have each and every one of us here, and would also want to have you, because it is because of you we are here. We try as much as possible to get those information and pass it across, information that benefits every one of us. From all of us and the entire team of Glasscast podcast, we want to say a big thank you, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Thank you.